And welcome back, YouTube. Back to the after a long time, which is mostly thanks to me being super lazy. But we are back. I'm back, and well, we're gonna make a tiny bit of a video. Something building a ship that's gonna be pretty much something to start the game with. I'm not really sure how it's gonna be, I'm not really sure how great it's going to be, but hopefully it's gonna be good enough. Yeah, and it's also gonna serve as a tiny bit of a tutorial for me, since pretty much being away for pretty long time. Hopefully I learned something. Most likely I will not, but you know, that could be the case. So yeah, a lot of things have happened, a lot of things have changed in the game, and do wanna have like a bit of a refresher for myself, so we're gonna build this more like a tutorial or anything. And I wanna build like an ammo box in the center of this very small ship. It's gonna pretty much do multiple of things. One of them being it's very low to the water level or below the water level, so it's gonna have acting as a balancing point for the vessel. This is gonna be a very small vessel. This is not going to work. Yeah. We need some heavy armor on the sides. I'm gonna build this thing out of metal and alloy. The current game does have quite strong missiles at the start. Well, at the start, it's missiles that the deep water guard is using are annoying, to say the least. So I wanna have something of a vessel that can withstand a hit or two or something. Even though, I mean, it's optimistical that it's gonna be able to do that. I mean, it will withstand a couple of hits. That's for sure. It just the missiles that the deep water guard is using have a habit of like chugging straight through wood. So I would rather like it to be somewhat protected in that regard. Even though, I mean, you can build out of wood. There is absolute no issues with that. But I would recommend you at this point a very high repairs capability on the vessel if you intend to build it out of wood, simply because it has such a low HP, and there are actually these tiny missiles we have now. They eat through wood very quickly. No. So yeah, I don't want to be in the situation of either dying, either having to constantly repair the ship. And metal does survive much better those very small missiles. Pretty much this was added to the game over the last year or so. And I think they're tiny bit overpowered, those tiny missiles, when it comes down to dealing with, at the start of the game, dealing with wooden ship and stuff like that. So of course I'm gonna use them. Why not? I mean, it's if they are good, why not use them? It's an obvious. And missiles and torpedoes are particularly strong in the game at the moment. But it mostly has to deal with that most designs in the game don't really have much of anything when it comes down to defending themselves against missile projectiles, or very limited defenses in that direction. There are also stuff that currently I can't figure out how they work or don't work at all. So that's also an issue. Even though I could be just dumb and not understanding them. But things like chaffes and, well, chaffes, what are they called? Distractors aren't actually all that well working. Or from what I can tell, they don't work at all. So that's a tad bit of an issue. Well, I mean, they do work, it's just that their effect is so minimal that I can't really tell. I would just say they don't work. Nope, they can't freaking work. Okay, and we're building just a rudimentary hull for the ship. If you wanna have like a decent ship, you should probably build it like a bullet shape, having as many propellers at the back, and of course having a very tiny front or narrow front of the vessel. So I'm building it kind of symmetrical on both sides, having the biggest ballast point in the center of the vessel, even though we're gonna remove this part here. So we're gonna have spacing for our propellers and stuff. 34. Okay. So yeah, a lot of things have changed. A lot of things. We have now steam propellers, which are kinda awesome. Complex constructions. Yeah, I like that. I like the idea of it. I like it, seeing it in the game. It's pretty epic. I wish that they would make something like that for other types of propulsion up as well, but well, we're gonna make it just slightly bit taller. And I have seen a lot of people asking how the hell you built like an efficient, or not even efficient, just the first ship that you built, how you make it even decently good. Well, my solution right now is using very tiny missiles. The game did actually increase somewhat in difficulty, because previously there was actually some functions that were kinda automatic, but now you have to kinda designate a lot of the stuff manually, which I must say it's kind of a pain. But hopefully we can manage to. Okay. Oh, oopsie. Okay, it's gonna be like this. So yeah, our first little boat. They're gonna be the deck over here. Right, that's okay. Oops. Down here. And of course we're building it also out a lot of light alloy. Light alloy swims, so even if the ship is taking some nasty beating, it's gonna keep on sailing around. It's not gonna sink. So 80% in sinking, doubt that we're ever gonna see that one. It's just either gonna be destroyed, and it's not gonna take much to destroy it. These very small ships, they get hit by a decent cram cannon or a salvo of missiles or a couple of torpedoes, and they're done. That's that. It just, you can't help that. It's just the sizes of very small ships. You know, there is a hint in it, very small. So it doesn't take a lot to destroy them. So yeah, this kind of the basis of the ship. It's slightly longer than what I wanted it, but otherwise okay. And how did I... oh yeah. Yeah, slightly getting myself confused here. I am exceptionally good at getting myself confused, so that's gonna be no issue. We're gonna have to check at the back end actually, because you kinda have to balance the boat around. I mean, so far the mass point is somewhere down here, so this is not gonna work. We're gonna have to fix it. Let's place our AI in here. Just the rudimentary AI. Well, the rudimentary. The base mainframe. Since we have to kind of... you don't have to actually put anything else on the mainframe, just have it there, and having a transceiver on it kind of works just fine. Of course, I'm gonna just add the modules, behavior module and target location. We're not gonna use the aimpoint select because missiles don't really care about the aimpoint, unless of course you make them controlled by the transmitter. AI takes the transmitter and everything else has to take a receiver, and we're gonna also take an inter-vehicle transmission on it. The stone here is pretty much just isolation, so EMPs, the deep water guard doesn't use much of any EMP weaponry, but later on most definitely gonna see EMP being used against us, and as the end result having slightly bit of protection is okay. We're gonna add naval here, really the basic one. I doubt that we're gonna do, and under maneuver, ship and tank. Just activate these two, and of course, oh, damn it. Oh, yeah, you right click on this one. You see, I'm already getting this. Pitch control, we're gonna enable this and put it down to 0. You do this in order to get control over the hydrofoils or some other stuff, propulsion that you may want to use as a pitch control, and that's the only reason why I even bother with this. Ship and tank controls. I did the right one. Yes, pitch control. Yeah, and the naval, we're gonna, well, let's put it like this. We want it to be fairly far away from an enemy, so 1,000 meters minimum broadside range. The ship will always try to get to the minimum broadside range. It will ignore every other setting and just try to get to this minimal broadside range, which is kind of dumb. The adjustments, turning circle, do not allow reverse. Turning circle 100 meters, yeah, let's put it like 200. I mean, it's a very small ship on water, that gonna be fine up as well. So for now we need an engine. I kind of have an idea what I want for an engine. 1, 2, 3, 1. There. Wanna have very tiny engines. We will not need a lot of power on the ship, and just this very tiny engine. Yeah, I think it's gonna be sufficient. Using carburetors, I want to make it somewhat efficient in its power production, even though I'm most likely not gonna succeed, or well, better to say I could do it much better, but I'm dumb. There we go. And exhaust the 5-way and upward, something like this. Yeah. We're gonna have to see how this gonna come at the end. Of course, we're also gonna need fuel storage because we're using, well, fuel engine. I kinda don't like this. Give me a second. I just realized something, and that is that I didn't put the bottom, only one layer bottom here, and I don't particularly like this because torpedoes are currently very, very strong. So having at least 2 layers here, I just want for my own comfort, really. As I said, the ship is so small, if we actually get hit by something hardcore, we're done for anyway. And we're gonna see, you know, if it turns out that that it's not good enough. I still want it. And like that. These tiny engines. It's kind of annoying to build tiny engines. You could build this off steam up as well. Steam propellers on a very small ship, but the problem I'm having with steam is at the moment you just have like an insane amount of extra power left for it's absolute no goddamn good reason, and if you try to use that power you just can't because that's how it works at the moment. If the speed of the propellers is vastly more important than the power that those pistons output, but that doesn't really help because you still have like 3,000 or so thousand or something like that free energy, but you just can't use because the moment you do, the propellers slow down, and that's kind of a beef I'm having with it right at this point. So yeah, that's just a waste of power and energy, and steam is already the least efficient way of propelling a vessel, so making it having some ridiculous amount of surplus for power, it's just no. Let's make something here at the front of a deck. Yeah. Which one should be? This one. That. 1, 2, 3. No, it's gonna be good. I'm guessing something like this. Yeah, I'm just building some parts of the superstructure. Yeah, a bit more like that. Yeah, okay. I think it's gonna be fine enough. And well, superstructure, it's a cabin, pretty much, for all intents and purposes, very tiny cabin. Doing this, what I'm doing right now, not recommended, just having like 1 blocks here. It will present a weak spot, well, a weak spot. It's not gonna withstand, not even tiny missiles. It won't have much of any problem of just punching through this, so us sitting in here, yeah, it's gonna kill us. Let's just put it that way. But it's just something of a tiny cabin on top of the vessel, so we have something to be in. Maybe we can move it slightly bit backwards. Yeah, let's move it slightly bit backwards, just to make it look better. like 1 block, not much. Okay, 4 and 4. Okay. This is all just me being a bit petty about how the ship gonna look like, even though I'm most likely gonna, like, no matter how it looks like, I can't make ships look good. I'm not that good to make ships look good. So this may not be the greatest thing ever, but we're also gonna have like very limited detection on the vessel, since we don't really need that much. Missiles are self-guided. Yeah. Also, I'm using mouse controls to build, as always. I still can't get used to the keyboard building. Some people can. Kudos to you. That's all I have to say about it, because I can't. No way I can't. What do we have underneath here? Oh, it's nothing. Oh, actually, this gonna be. Alright. This gonna be like this. Okay. Yeah, this gonna look just fine, I'm guessing. We didn't have anything back there anyway, so just making it a little bit prettier. It does serve a balance purpose, so hopefully it will be enough, and if it's not, well, we're gonna have to rectify that later on. Alright. Ooh, yeah. Okay. Put it like this. And then we put this one like this. And we round it up a bit. Something like that. Yeah, it's gonna work just fine. I'm gonna have to put the throw-up pipes. Fuel engines, exhaust. So yeah, just making it work a tad bit better. Well, work. Look, I'm way too much into this looks thingy. Okay, like that. No, this one. Well, hopefully it looks kind of good. When I know I'm gonna ruin it at some point, so it's very little question on how good it's going to look like when I'm done with it. Something like this should work just fine. Yeah. Alright. Well, here we go. Alright. I'm gonna say it's fine enough. We still don't have any weapons or anything. We're gonna add them at the very least. At very last, not least. Okay. So propellers, they're gonna go in here. Can we kind of shorten? Oh, yes, we can. Can always do that. And water, and we're gonna use the standard large propellers. I think we're gonna be, yeah, we are right at the center of the mass, so this is okay. You always need to kind of check whether or not the center of the mass, which is right down here, is kind of in line with the propellers, especially because on a very small ships, they're gonna jump out of the water if you don't do that. So couple of these, a bit too much, yeah, too much. Only one. Oh, okay, like that, gonna be better. So yeah, I wanna use the custom rudders up as well, so custom rudders are a bit of a pain at the moment though, because they kinda don't take the actual surface of the rudder to be its point of turn. It actually takes wherever the hinge is, the spin block is. So if the spin block is a bit too low or too high, like that, yeah, let's put it like this. This is actually somewhat annoying. No matter how low we put the rudder in, the spin block is the one that turns the ship. So it doesn't really matter. Just put like a very rudimentary one, like here, and then we're gonna also configure it, angle control, and what will we do? 0.15. This is actually percent of 100, so because it turns 180, when you set something like 20 here, it's actually a 20 out of 180, which is 36 degrees. So this rudder will turn a maximum of 36 degrees. No, okay. If you don't know how that works. And now this will be this is already set up. AI will use it as its rudder control. You know what, I'm also gonna put a couple of hydrofoils down for stability sake. Not pitch, roll. I think it should work like that. Hey, we're gonna have to see, we're gonna have to confirm on that later on. And we also, now AI automatically has a roll control, so you don't have to do anything about that one. Just when it comes down to pitch control is another story. So yeah, okay, I think oh, resources, fuel, we need, I keep on, okay, where is the fuel? Where should we put it? Like this? Yeah, let's just put it like that. Oh, I forgot to mirror stuff. Let's go back to mirroring. and now we have some fuel, 24,000 fuel for an 800 power engine. That's actually excessive, but okay. Also we're gonna need some AI processing cards and stuff like that, so we wanna have at least one of these, no, not this, local weapon controllers, this here. Yeah, we know that you're not connected, and a wireless receiver on this one, and we're gonna also put a snooper, okay, and the rest AI and general processing cards. This should make our AI function. We're also gonna put one very rudimentary detector on top, camera 360, so it can see in all directions, and of course never forget the receivers, or your AI is not connected. So AI is now connected, it should function as is, even though I don't think that the ship will sail away. Oh, one more thing. Water, air pump. Yes, please. Is the reel connected to this? No, we actually can. Yeah, 5 cubic meters on each side. That's not gonna be a lot of points added. But it's actually, as you can see, very stable. Well, very stable. It's gonna make it a slightly bit bouncy. Most of the weight is at the bottom. And here you can see something that if you ever build a boat, how to make it stable. You see the mass point over there? It's the blue dot, and then you have the buoyancy, and you can see the buoyancy is above the mass. So what does that mean is that the ship will always try to stay in this position. All objects, physics like 101, all objects have a tendency to go to their most stable point, and buoyancy pulls the ship up, mass is pulling the ship down, and if the mass is below the buoyancy, that means the ship is stable and it will always try to maintain this position. And I wasn't completely sure, but you know, because we put our ammo box right at the bottom here, I kind of figure out that's what will happen. But yeah, if you want to build a stable boat that self-corrects itself, this is what you need to look for. It's a bit pain in the ass, especially on larger vessels, but on a small ship like this, as you can see, you don't need much to make it stable. Well, I mean, in cases you need to actually quite a lot. It depends on how you build stuff. It's a lot of test and trial, and you kind of get it done at some point in a lot of cases. Yeah, this I think can be just fine. Where did we put our local weapon controller? We're gonna need you local weapon controller right here. So we're gonna put a new object, first weapon that we're gonna put in to access. Yeah, it's controlled, and I'm gonna put one of those tiny missiles, well, tiny missiles, couple of them, a controller. How the hell you? That's how you are. And identify friend and foe, we need this, and also staggered fire add-on. We're gonna put this like to 2. And now small rail launchers. I kind of like these things because you can put them like in the center here, and then you can actually take small rail launchers at the back and at the front. And it works just fine. I kind of like this. The old missiles can only be attached to the back, so that's something. We're gonna also put one turning thruster, and here we're gonna put a regulator. No, here we're gonna put a regulator. We also want target prediction, and we're gonna put a fuel tank over here. 25 seconds of fuel thrust duration, and lifetime is 20 seconds, so we're gonna actually increase this a bit. We're gonna also put a couple of explosives, and then variable thruster, and we're gonna increase the thrust to 125. That seems to be fine, and copy it all of the on the launch pad. So that's launch. Did I just add launch pad? Enable extra constraints. We do not want this thing to shoot us in the back, so 40 degrees here, 40 degrees here, and then we flip the azimuth constraint. So now if you look at it, yeah, this is inside the brackets. That's what you're looking for, inside the brackets. We also need to limit the required accuracy. I'm gonna drop it down to 20 or so, 19.6. Yeah. This is only to do so that because we don't use 1 ton. If you use 1 ton on a missile or a torpedo or whatnot, then you can actually have it a bit more liberal with that required accuracy. But otherwise, we also need to put something of a controls in here. Control vehicle controller into our little tiny cabin, and a chair. Having a bit of a cough. My throat doesn't feel well. Okay, what else do we need? Oh, well, you see, the ship is underway. Is it stable? It looks stable. Are you guys turning? Yes, you're turning. And both of you are turning, actually. You have to check this. if you mirror them, they will turn in the exact opposite direction, so you kind of have to check this if they're turning in the right direction. So yeah, they will pretty much, the way they turn, that's the way that they're gonna try to counter a roll. So yeah, they seem to work just fine, and the ship is somewhat stable. It's gonna most likely start pitching a bit hardcore. Yep. We're gonna add just a tad bit of hydropole control here. 1, 2, 3. 1. You know what? Like that. We're gonna turn them just the other way around, so I can just add an automatic positive to them. Otherwise you have to put them in the negative here in the pitch up, pitch down controllers, and spread to the neighborhoods. It's the neighbors. Oh my god. We're also most likely gonna have to add a pit control, just otherwise the ship gonna start doing some bouncy stuff, I'm guessing. But yeah, I think it's gonna be just fine. I'm not even sure completely whether or not we're gonna be a bit front heavy with this stuff. Of course, I also want to have torpedoes, so adding those next. Missiles and connectors. The torpedo gonna be medium in size, simply because, well, I want them to be medium in size. The torpedoes are very powerful these days, and the medium-sized torpedoes are quite an effective weapon dealing with any type of ship, even later on in the game. Not connected. Yeah, what I'm doing. Controller. They're both connected, yes. You kinda have to check with missile controllers whether stuff is connected, because they actually have like this awkward, on one side they don't connect, on the other sides they do connect, so it's just that bit awkward in that direction. Would hope that they would just correct in all 6, but they don't. Medium rail. It's kind of harder to know whether or not you're building them forward or backward with the medium-sized ones, simply because yeah, they're not that easy to figure out. With the smaller ones you just have oh, what I'm doing, variable thrusters, fins. Yeah, we don't really need that many of them. Torpedo sonar, and now of course we need a lot of other stuff. We need the buoyancy. Where is it? Ballast tanks. Ballast tanks, 30 seconds on the thrust duration. Yeah, couple of explosives, and let's put 1 frag on it. It's gonna work. Will we need it bigger? You know what, we're gonna make it bigger. It's not a big deal. You see, I love these new ones. Usually with the old you would have to collapse everything and pretty much rebuild it. We put fins in that. Fuel tanks. Oh, just put fuel tanks down. Lifetime 40 seconds. Okay. What was I doing? Give me a second. Was I reading wrong? 100-second thrust duration. What? Fence. 75 seconds. Okay. 1 turn, and we're also gonna need target prediction, or want to have target prediction. And you can see 71 seconds on the torpedo thrust direction. Yeah, which we can actually do like full force, which gonna make the torpedoes pretty fast. Only 20 seconds of the duration. Lifetime is 40 seconds, I'm sorry. Duration, thrust duration is 35 seconds. Yeah, it's close enough. 40, 30, it's fine, and we're just gonna copy to all the matching ones. It's not the most maneuverable torpedoes, but they're gonna function just as fine. And of course we are now also stop mirroring, please. Okay. Where are you? Identify friend and foe. And stagger fire add-on. This we're gonna have to make it like half a second or something like that. We're gonna have to see. And of course the AI. AI now. Local weapon control, please. And a failsafe. Well, we don't really need a failsafe. We just need receivers. If it's attached straight to the hull like this, then it doesn't really need a failsafe. It's just gonna... It actually is from time to time gonna prevent it to launch the missiles. So it's a failsafe. Well, it can be an annoying from time to time. How are we? Okay. We're gonna add a gun. It's new object. 1 axis turn. Yeah. It's gonna be a small gun, more or less decorative. But we're gonna have a gun. Advanced cannons, couch increase. Like that. This is kind of annoying to build like this. But I'm guessing it's going to work just fine. Advanced firing piece. The 2 notches that you see on the advanced firing piece, that's supposed to go on the bottom there. They kind of tell you whether or not it's turned upside down or something like that. And we're gonna have 5 barrels. What kind of caliber does it? 42. Okay. Yeah, 42 caliber. And I have a barrel, and let's put a bore excavator and a muzzle brake. And now we also have this barrel spacing. Yay! Let's make it more minigun looking. Yeah, and it looks just fine. Advanced cannons. Yes, belt pad loaders. Since this gun is so small, not gonna really matter, I'm guessing. It's definitely not the firepower we're gonna be missing if it gets shot out or something like that, and it doesn't really need much of anything. It's gonna do some damage to the ship if it blows up, but I don't think it's gonna be that catastrophic, especially because there's gonna be solid AP shells in it. With very small guns, I doubt that high explosive or anything like that would actually even do anything because of a very small caliber. We also want hydraulic recoil absorption. Yeah, and we're gonna place one at the bottom here as well. Tiny one, but this will pretty much nullify any recoil from the weapon. 360-degree turret. We're gonna enable constraints here of around 150 in one direction, 150 in another direction. So yeah, like this. So it's gonna fire in this angle all the way from here to here, somewhere like that. From here and all the way to here. Yeah, it's gonna be fine. It's more or less important just so that the gun will realize that it needs to turn when it needs to turn. Okay, back to building on the ship. Oh, what am I doing? Okay. And now we're gonna lay down what kind of a bullet we want. Since it's very small caliber, we can make it actually pretty excessively long. AP capped. 1 meter, 650. Yeah. We're just gonna put like a bunch of solid and a sabot. Kinetic damage 500. Will the base builder do anything? Yeah, 500 damage, 14 penetration. It's fine. As I said, this gun is not our main firepower in this vessel anyway. Now we're also gonna need resources, so material storage. I'm gonna just put them, like a bunch of them over here. Resources, and we're gonna also want some at the back somewhere. Where should we put them? Actually, we're gonna put you right down here. So yeah, that was now pointless to put those water pumps there. Okay, 38,000 material max that we can put on the ship. Yeah, I'm actually fine with that. I'm completely fine with that. Does this work? Yeah, they do work. Okay. Resources. We're gonna need ammunition processors. We just do need ammunition processors. Gonna put them like right in the front. That should not be that damaging. Hey, at least I'm hoping that it's not going to be. And we're gonna need quite a lot of them. Missiles do consume a lot of ammo. So, I think we are pretty much done. I mean, there'll be slight tweaks here and there, but we pretty much have everything. We have our torpedoes, we have a gun, we have our tiny missiles, and the ship is behaving. It's slightly bit front heavy. No, actually, it's fine. It's actually fine. Let's see. Oh, I forgot something. Oh, dear Lord, I forgot. I forgot to put the local weapon controller for the gun. Okay, we're gonna have to add a pit to this system. If you notice this shaking up and down, this is thanks to those. Actually, are we even bothered by this? It's just tiny one bit on a shaky. I guess I'm not. I'm not actually that. And ammo processing units seem to be good enough. I mean, they're not perfect. They're gonna run out sooner or later. And AI that, yeah. As you can see, tiny missiles quite powerful. Torpedoes very powerful. So yeah, we also need now a controller for the gun. So AI local weapon controller. Controlling 0 weapons. Oh. Oh. It's right here, isn't it? Controlling 1 weapon. Okay. Not ideal. Not ideal. But I'll take it. Like that. A failsafe. We need a failsafe. With guns, you always need a failsafe. Okay. Receiver. Okay. That's gonna be just fine. And we're also gonna need a pit. The shaking just bugs me up just a bit too much. We gonna... How much? 2 detectors, 8 units. Yeah, we don't need this many of the processors. Are we mirroring? No, stop mirroring. This is not to be mirrored. Okay. Here, and we're gonna put AI and up it down, and we're gonna put it on a pitch control. And edit pitch control 0.10. Yeah, we actually want it to be somewhat slow, so the ship will kind of stabilize itself, but it's not gonna try too hard. Let's try it against a flying squirrel. And yeah, we're gonna still have to set the AI control so that torpedoes will only launch against ships and not against vessels. So we go back down here. Ooh, we have been hit by our own torpedoes. Yeah, and as you can see, that's quite a lot of damage. This ship will not survive any major hits. It's kind of obvious to note that in advance. Where are you? Local weapon controller. And we're gonna set it maximum range to engage. Let's say 2000. I think it should go far enough. Maximum altitude to engage 10. 11. Yeah, no, 10. Let's put it on 10. That should be good enough. Okay. So, I'm gonna just slightly displace these fellas here. Put a couple of lightweight blocks down here. It just, the way that the damage we saw there, it was, yeah. I don't think this will help much, but at least I can say I kinda tried. I kinda tried. Okay. The price, 26,000. Yeah, it's... would want it to be slightly bit cheaper, but everything else works. Also missiles. We're gonna have to local weapon control for missile. Where are you? Here? Okay. Maximum range to engage. Let's give it around 1.5 kilometers. 1,500 meters. And minimum altitude to engage. I don't want it to shoot down too heavy into the water, so let's -8. Yeah, this should work just fine. So missiles will mostly fire stuff in the air, torpedoes will fire stuff that is in the water, gun will just be completely useless in most cases. We don't have a lot of detection, if you know, visual camera, wire snooper, kinda all we need because we're relying heavily on our missiles. Could have had extra. We do have the AI processing power to it. But otherwise, I think we have done a pretty good job for our first tiny vessel. And yeah, the torpedoes are now not firing. Missiles are, on the other hand. Our gun is up as well. And ooh, good job, Mr. Gun. You have already proven yourself useful in this tiny test. I suspect it's gonna work just fine. We're gonna, of course, largely rely on staying the hell away from danger. The ship is too small, even if it's made out of alloy and metal and stuff. Couple of hits, like we get one cramp cannon into this and we're dead. So yeah, we're just too small. 1,500 volumes. No, that's just too small. But otherwise, yeah, I think it's gonna work just fine. So this is our starting ship. This video is a bit long. Oh my god. But I did wanna kinda finish the entire ship inside one and talk about it, and having DI and everything else kinda even slightly bit of rudimentary explanation to that. So yeah, I think this is gonna work just fine. Still have to paint it, do slight bit of tweaks here and there, but actually I'm surprised that it's so well balanced. I'm not that good at balancing stuff. Gee Christ, I'm having a cough. But yeah, so well, that's gonna be it for today. See ya.